Hi, Pat here. I have a Kenwood stereo, model KR 3010. This thing does turn on. I got tape going right now. But I'm not getting much out of the tone controls. And loudness does do something. AM,
because if you don't, you pay attention.
it picks up AM.
No question.
I don't see the meter doing anything. Getting some FM. I still don't see the meter doing much. So let's take a look at the inside and see what's going on. Here's the inside of the stereo. You can see there's one light bulb burnt out. And pull the plug real fast. And it is quite dusty in there. So I'm going to blow it out. I'm going to hook the dummy loads up to it and the scope and a function generator and just see how things look. I got my dummy loads hooked up to it, along with a couple of voltmeters hooked up as AC, and I'm putting in 190 millivolts. So let's turn the volume up all the way. That's the volume up all the way. It was a little scratchy at first as I went up and down with the volume knob to clean it off. I haven't cleaned them, put any deoxin in them yet, but it's nice and clean. I'm running 15.5, almost 16 volts there. So 15 volts is 28 watts. 16 volts is 32 watts. This is rated at 27 watts per channel, so it's running pretty good there. I'm running a square wave through it right now, and they're really not that square. It's kind of rounded off, a little overshoot. So try turning the bass down. A little jumpy there. Bass up. Quite jumpy still. That's the treble down. And the treble all the way up. And you see, it still ain't right. That's the treble back at 0. And it's loudness on, loudness off. So I'm going to clean the controls, see if that changes anything. I'm going to get in here and try to get some cleaner and all these here and all these switches, and that one will probably be the hardest. I use this stuff first, mainly because it's cheap. I'm going to flush out, and I'll take my deoxin to it. This stuff is kind of messy and it's expensive, and I try to use as low as possible in there. Well, the holes for these, sometimes they're at the top here, and they're really hard to get to. So I tape a couple things together, and I put a little bend in there. Lets me get at them a little bit easier. I got a square wave running through it again. And let's turn the bass down, bass all the way up. Treble down, treble all the way up, and the loudness on and loudness off. So things are looking a lot cleaner. Here's the bottom of the stereo, and I'll look for bad solder joints. You'd be surprised how many you find. I got this lens of an old video camera, and it works good for me. But I do find something I question. I got a nice little echo gun. And I'll just remove the solder and add new solder to it. Something I learned from other YouTubers. And you change the caps. Take a marker and just put a little mark on top of them, so you know which caps you change. I got a lot of it recapped here. Most of them are Nichicons. There's a few Panasonics in there. Oh, this here I believe is the phono board. I haven't touched that yet. And you got this little blank board sitting right here. No components, and it's hooked to it. And I really don't know what they're thinking when they put that in there. I'm sure there's a reason. These big filter caps here I changed. These are 50 volts, 10,000 microfarads. Here's one of the old ones. It's 44 volts, 6,800 microfarads, and it's reading 5,350 microfarads, so it was low weak. I pulled this board loose here, and I got it recapped. This little board here really ain't nothing on it. It's hooked to chassis ground. This is pin here, and all these traces here, they're for the tapes in and outs. I really don't know why they have that there. Best I could figure is to drain some kind of static off. I got everything back together, and I got my test setup hooked up. Got my dummy loads up there. Couple meters reading the AC voltage, and I'm putting 190 millivolts into one of the tape inputs. So let's turn the volume up all the way. And it's volume up all the way. It's looking good, and I'm reading about 15.7 on the voltmeters. That'll put it just about 31 watts. This deck is rated at 27, so that's about right. I got some speakers hooked up, a turntable and a tape deck. And right now I'm on FM.
College Riverfront Campus. You'll learn that
Let's try a little AM.
You tend to overpay for starting pitching, and I think by the...
I think, too, it's worth taking on.
Gostoso in it. 22, the Kennedy out to the junction, 25 to O'Hare, 40 minutes inbound.
And what Trent taught me during that time period.
Yeah, I got tape going. And I got a record spinning too. This little stereo came out real nice. Thanks for watching the video. One last thing. I noticed this meter wasn't moving in the end, but I think I got it now.
Staples has four.
I have a very hard time picking up FM where I'm at. And let's switch over to AM.
Learn more at participating Chicagoland location. Horizon, better matters.
Well, now I got that needle right. And it turned out to be the selector switch. I had to spray a whole bunch of cleaner in there to get it working right. Now I can call this thing done.